Unlock the secrets of franchising success with the Franchise Life podcast. Hosted by Stacey Shannon. Join us for expert insights, success stories, and practical tips every week. Subscribe now and take your franchise journey to the next level.
Hello and welcome to the Franchise Life. Today we are featuring an emerging brand called Facialworks. And with me, I have co-founders Jason and Megan Galboa. Welcome.
Thank you.
Having us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I have to say that I am a huge fan of this space. Number one, my love language is if somebody just gives me a gift certificate to a spa for a massage or a facial. I know all about facials, but what I don't know about is all about Facialworks. So I'm anxious to dive right into this brand. So Facialworks was founded in 2013, but you guys just started franchising here in 2024. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So you have 4 corporate locations in Orange County. You have another one that will be opening up yet this year in LA, and then a 6th location, which is in Boca Raton. And I know that you guys have your first Discovery Day slated for October of this year, where candidates, you'll be meeting with them in person for potential investments, which is super exciting. But before we dive right into the brand, can you give me just a little bit of history, Megan, on how Facialworks got started?
Yeah, so I'm an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for about 15 years. I started in the medical space in skincare and opened my own wellness, my own space in like a wellness center, and just saw the need for this sort of concept in this space. So we opened Facialworks in 2013. We launched with our own product line and a custom facial that we do at our facial bar and a couple other different treatments that we do within our treatment rooms. So we offer oxygen facials, hydrofacials, we do dermaplaning, we do no downtime peels. We really want you to, leave looking better than when you came in. We don't want to, have a, irritate your skin or, lots of peeling. Like that's not the concept that we are going for. And yeah.
All right. So this is a facial bar concept, which I am very familiar with, like the dry bar for, getting your hair washed and blow dried and curled, but no additional services, right? They're not cutting hair and so forth. So Jason, how did you come up with the concept of a facial bar?
Yeah, I mean, I think, more credit to Megan on this one. My background before getting into this was in finance. So a lot of these great ideas are hers, and I'm the guy standing behind the woman doing all the boring stuff. But no, I think that was at the time kind of express beauty was becoming a bigger and bigger thing. Not just in hair, but in other services as well. And we kind of felt like from talking to Megan's clients that no one had really done express facials well yet. There had been some attempts, but they weren't good. And I think there was kind of 4 key areas that we figured out that the market was underserving clients, and no one had addressed. Best we could tell, no one had even addressed 3 of those, maybe 1 or 2 only. So we actually went on our honeymoon, and we were sitting in an overwater hut in Bora Bora talking about, like, how would you design a business to kind of hit all of these points, right? If you were going to have one business and it was going to hit all of these. And what ended up coming out of that conversation became Facialworks. So we came home from our honeymoon, had no idea how to, launch a retail business, but kind of figured it out. And 8 months later, opened the first store. And kind of tweaked it along the way and made improvements, changed the services, added more products, taken products away. It's kind of been a 10-year test some things, see if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, throw it out and do something different, right? But you keep doing that over 10 years, and at the end of it, you have a pretty darn good business.
So, Megan, how did you know now was the time to venture into franchising?
We opened our first store in 2013, and then in 2017 we opened up 2 more locations in Dana Point and then Huntington Beach, California. 2019 we opened at the Irvine Spectrum, and then COVID happened. We kind of took a little bit of a pause, and then I mean, Jason, you kind of stumbled upon like 𝐸𝐵𝐿, and I don't know if you want to talk about a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we had kind of talked about it from time to time, mostly because, quite honestly, so many people had reached out over the years and asked if they could franchise the business, and we'd kind of always just been like, nah, that's not really for us. But we'd kind of talk about it, and we'd always said we'd have to find like a really, really great firm to help us, who knows what they're doing, because none of us have a background in franchising. And we came across 𝐸𝐵𝐿, who's our current franchise development firm. And right away, we could just tell that they were different. It wasn't just about selling the franchises, but also about how to responsibly grow a franchise, how to support your franchisees, how to develop the brand, how to develop your systems. It was really like a 360 approach to building, not just selling licenses, but actually like building a successful business, using franchises as a method. So when that came along and we all liked each other and decided to work together, at that point it was like, okay, let's do this. I think from what we've seen since then, we've realized that franchising is great because of the passion that gets injected from these new entrepreneurs who are coming in and kind of fall in love with the brand and what we do. And that's one of the biggest things in trying to grow a company, is just keeping that like fresh injection of passion and love for what you do. So we're excited to meet these people and have them become part of the organization.
Now, you're at a very exciting point in your journey, and I know the 𝐸𝐿 group very well. I know Rachel and the team there. So, and Trisha Bertelson, who is fantastic. So you definitely have the A team to help with the franchise sales part.
Really?
So Megan, for those of us that don't understand the term express facial, can you just dive into that a little bit and describe what that means to your clients?
Right. The majority of our facials are done in under an hour. So at our facial bar, it's around 45 minutes. And then also in the treatment rooms, it can get up to like 50, 55 minutes. We have a longer treatment too, if that's something that the client is interested in. But we do a cleanse, an exfoliation, a mask, and the oxygen infusion, which is like that red carpet glow that you get. We custom developed our own serums, and then finishing touches with that service. We also have a variety of enhancements to further elevate your facial. And then also in the treatment rooms, we offer the same service as well. We call it the We Love Your Face facial, and then some other facials as well. So we really want the client to be able to come in, get your facial and be on your way, not have that, like if somebody's short on time and they don't have that like time for a 3-hour spa experience, they can still come in and get a really nice effective facial. And then also the facial bar, like we really have that like social element. So a lot of people come with their friends, their family, and it's just kind of their like me time.
So I love the aspect. I mean, the facial bar part of this is very unique and different. All of my facial experiences have always been in a separate room, like similar to if you're getting a massage or what have you. So this really opens up a whole new opportunity for community and for gatherings of, you mentioned it could be a mother-daughter, it could be a bachelorette party. So Jason, can you share a little bit more about, I mean, we're focusing on your corporate locations now, but maybe the percentage of times that maybe groups are coming in for a community experience versus individuals?
Sure. And just to clarify too, we actually have treatment rooms as well. So we actually have that kind of traditional experience. If someone's looking for hydrofacial or dermaplaning, we do those in our treatment rooms. But the bar is great, as you mentioned, for groups. That's not a stat I've ever pulled. I would say anecdotally, I would say about half the people that come into the bar are coming in with another person, and maybe about half are just by themselves getting their facial. And then when a group does come in, probably I would say about half of the groups are maybe just two. The other half are 3, 4, 5, or 6.
Well, a nice little touch that I read about that you guys do also is you can get a drink with every service, which I think is fantastic. I remember when I lived back home in Iowa, there was a spa called the Sanctuary Spa. And every time I went in there, they would have a menu of drinks, and it could be a mimosa, it could be champagne, it could just be tea, or in the winter, coca or coffee. But that is just a nice little touch that you guys do. All right, let's dive into one of the aspects of this business that I really like and is very appealing to investors is your membership model. So, Megan, can you share a little bit more about what that looks like and perhaps the price range of the different memberships that you have?
Yeah, we have 3 different tiers of membership. So it kind of depends on what the client wants. Our first membership is our bar facial. So you can get 2 bar facials a month. And then we have a membership where you can get a treatment room service. So that's the hydrofacial, dermaplaning, peel. You can kind of 1 month get one thing, 1 month get another thing. And then we have our top service, which is the Facialworks, which is it's like an 1.5-hour facial. It includes all the bells and whistles to it. So those are the 3 different ones. Jason, can you tell me the price points on those right now? Because I know we changed them a little.
Yeah, the starting one is $140 for the 2 bar facials, which includes 10% off of products and additional services. Then it's $195 for the mid-level, which allows you to go to any service in the treatment room. And then for our works, that is $330. No, $330. Sorry, yes, $330, which gives you a $50 break off the regular price.
All right. And what would you say, and I know just as an average across your corporate locations, the number or percentage of memberships versus just single visits?
Yep. From a revenue perspective, memberships generally make up about 30%. And then we have our own product line that'll generally be around 15 to 20%. And then the remainder is going to be single one-off services, packages, and gift cards.
So let's talk about the product line a little bit more. Megan, I know this is a proprietary skincare product line that Facialworks has created. So what is the range? Can you just give a few examples of what those products are?
Yeah. So we have right now, I think about 25 SKUs. We have cleansers, toners, moisturizers, exfoliants, serums, sunscreens, eye cream, and we're coming out with a lip wrap probably by the end of the year. But we really, myself, Brooke, who's our director of education and product development, and we recently brought on, her name is Holly. She comes from amazing beauty brands. We really, create these products together. We kind of see, what the clients need, what we can use in our services that will give us a beautiful result, and kind of craft them around that. We try and be to our standard of clean. We don't like to formulate with any parabens or sulfates, synthetic fragrances, synthetic colors. We do thousands of facials every single month. So we really need products that work, also that are at an affordable price point for our clients. And we're constantly, tweaking and engineering products to, be the best in their category.
So what does the competition look like for you guys? I mean, there's med spas out there. There's the Massage Envies, the Hand and Stone. With what you guys are offering and where you're positioning yourself in the marketplace, who would you say are, or what type of, I guess, brick and mortars are you really competing against?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned med spas. I think we're operating in that space kind of between day spa and med spa, where we're not medical, we're not doing lasers, injectables, so we're not directly competing with med spas. But they'll often do things like dermaplaning or hydrofacial. So we kind of compete on those services a little bit. I would say maybe we're also competing with like the hotel spas. But again, it's very different because we're typically in a retail center, where it's something that is easy to get to, as opposed to a hotel spa where it's quite a chore to go get a facial at one of those. I mean, there's some other facial competitors out there, but no one's really cornered like a large percentage of the market. So right now, I think it's pretty wide open. And in terms of med spas, I think we compete nicely against them because it's such a great experience. So we don't worry about the med spas too much.
Okay, great. All
Yeah.
right. So let's talk about the support that you provide franchise owners. So again, going back to the rep 'em group, very
Mhm.
familiar. They rep them, they grow them, they build them. So focusing on the build them, they should actually hire me. So I'll give them a little plug there.
Yeah, you know all about it.
Um, but focusing on the build I know that that is a significant resource for
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, especially new ones that are venturing into a brick and mortar investment. So, Jason, can you share a little bit about what that experience is going to look like to a new franchise owner in your system?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually using Build 'em for our two locations, which is fantastic. So we kind of wanted to experience it ourselves, since it, as you said, seems so great. And happy to report that it's actually lived up to what I hoped it would be. They're managing everything. They've gotten our costs down. They bid out all the GCs. They're not letting the GCs get away with any nonsense. And if you're the GC watching this, sorry, but no, I mean, they've saved us a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of headache. I don't think we could be doing these two stores and the franchising and all this other stuff if they were not handling this for us. I mean, we have about a once a week call just to check in. It's usually about 20, 30 minutes. This is what's going on. This is where we're at. And then throughout the week, they're handling stuff and they're CCing us. So we're seeing the progress happen. If they have any questions, they ask us, but it's just like having someone who's very, very competent manage your build out for you.
That is
Yeah,
fantastic.
they've been amazing, truly.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
So I mean, just from the get-go of trying to identify a location for Facialworks to securing the GCs to leasehold improvement negotiations. As my understanding, those are all things that they assist with. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, it's full gamut, right? So everything, even which I think a lot of entrepreneurs won't know this, but even going and getting your TI reimbursement can be a real pain. Because of it, you have to go file things with the city, and you can't do it electronically. You have to go down there and wait in line and all this stuff. And then you've got to itemize everything and get notarizations. And the landlords actually can make it quite difficult to go and get your reimbursement, and they handle it for you. So yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm really really happy and thrilled with all of this.
Oh, excellent.
I
All
told
right.
them, I said, I wish we had had you for the four other four locations.
Well, I absolutely love that.
Mhm.
I mean, you had your four corporate locations before joining the Repum Group and venturing
Mhm.
into franchising. So I love that you guys are testing this process out before a owner is going to go through
Mhm.
the process. And I mean, this is
Yep.
nothing new to Repum Group, but it is new to you guys. So I
Mhm.
think that that's fantastic and on two different coasts, which is also pretty incredible. So, speaking of prospects, what does your ideal candidate look like? What background experience and what attributes are you looking for in a future Facial Works owner?
Sure. I guess I'll take that one. Um, I think when we think about what we're going to provide, which we didn't get to touch on this too much, but I think how we view this is we want to handle a lot of the heavy lifting with maybe some of the marketing and some of the technology and systems and processes. I think what the ideal candidate will be is one, they're going to be really great with kind of like hiring and building that team, because that's a lot of what their work is going to be, is kind of putting together the team, figuring out the scheduling, all that kind of stuff. And then the other big piece is just being a big part of their community, right? What we found is that you get so many clients just going out there in the community and just talking about what we do. Because if I'm talking to the right person, they're going to want to book an appointment, right? So even now, just me talking about with people here in town and letting them know that there's a Facialworks coming. Everyone I talk to, if they're in our kind of demographic of what we're shooting for, 100%, 10 times out of 10, they're like, I'm booking a facial when you open. So if you think about it, if you have a big network of people who are in that demographic, and you go out there and you start telling them and they tell their friends and you start getting them in for facials, it becomes so easy to build that initial snowball of clients coming in. So I think an ideal client is going to be franchisee, is going to be somebody who's really active in their network. They're part of their parent teacher organizations or some other charitable work. They have a job where they're interfacing with a lot of people in the community. They have friends and family in the area. It's someone who's really like tied in and plugged into their community. I think it's going to have a much easier time launching the business than somebody who's maybe not too plugged into their community. So yeah, it's that kind of combination of really tied into their community and great at that team building part of it, good with people. They're gonna be fine. And then we'll handle some of the other stuff that they don't have to be as good at.
Also, somebody maybe that prioritizes like health and wellness, and that's just really excited to be part of the Facialworks, in the facial space.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how have your initial candidates that are going through the pipeline, I mean, what has this experience been like for you guys, given this is all new?
It's still very new. We haven't even done our first discovery day yet. So, Repum's handling most of the process right now.
All right. Okay. Well, on a last note, what are some of the key markets? I know there's a lot of wide open space out there, but Megan, what are some of those key markets that you would love to see a Facialworks go into?
And there's a lot of different areas in Florida that we've gotten some checks for that would be great. Dallas is such a great beauty market. Nashville would be great. Other spaces in California as well. Anything to add, Jason?
Arizona. Warm places are great because the treatment is actually very cooling. So I would say, anywhere, South Houston, Dallas, anywhere in Arizona. We've got a lot of territory checks actually in Nevada, which I think is going to be huge. But even places like, the cities in New Mexico, and there's people who are very, very health conscious there. Like Megan said, tons of places in Florida, Georgia, we've had a bunch, South Carolina, we've had a lot. And then like Megan also mentioned, anywhere in California too, is going to do really well. So we've got people who are interested in Los Angeles. We've had some from Northern California as well. Yeah, there's quite a few. For me personally, I think any place where there are women who are kind of short on time and maybe overworked and tired, and they need some me time and they want results and they want it at an affordable price, this is our clientele, right? And I think that those people exist everywhere.
You're absolutely right. And the Carolinas is another one to keep your eye on. A lot of those places you mentioned are just absolute hotspots where especially emerging franchise brands go really quickly. Because, the beauty of an emerging brand like yours is early adopters get the first pick on prime territory. So I'm such a huge fan of emerging brands, and especially ones in the beauty space. So I wish you guys nothing but the best. And you are in absolutely good hands with the Repham Group. And, Trisha and Rachel will do good by you. And I absolutely hope to bring some candidates your way sometime soon as well.
That's great. We'd love that.
So much.
So for anybody that is interested in learning more about Facialworks, please feel free to reach out to me at Stacy@fusionfranchising.com. Thanks and have a great day.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more on the franchise life.